Today I'm going to show you how to frost a cake and the easiest way to stack a two-tier cake without having to use a dowel rod. Let's jump right into it. When decorating a cake, you need a turntable, offset spatula, cake scraper. There are many types of cake scraper, and honestly, I don't think there's one better than the other. It'll be a good one if it works well for you. The one that I use all the time is actually this one, and it's not even a real cake scraper. This is actually a pastry cutter. I just like how I can have a good grip when using this one. Next, you need some jumbo plastic straw. This will be the support structure for the cake. And of course, a cake board. You need two types. One for the top tier, which will be in the same width as the cake. I like to use a thinner one for the upper tier to reduce the weight. It's plastic and grease-proof. Since this will be the same width as the cake, you need another one that is bigger so you can secure the cake and the cake board on it in order to frost. Then you need another one for the base of the cake, round or square, whichever one you prefer. This will have to be a sturdy one to support the weight of the entire two-tier cake. As you can see, this is very hard. Let's get started. We'll work on the top tier first. First, secure the cake board on the other one with some buttercream. Next, secure the bottom cake layer on the cake board with some buttercream. For this cake, I'm applying some jam on it as requested by my client. Next, pipe a ring of buttercream around the edge. This is because I'm filling the cake with whipped cream frosting. If you're only using buttercream for the entire cake, then you will just apply a layer of buttercream here. If you're going to put fruits in the layer, like mine here, it'll be a good idea to apply another thin layer of whipped cream on them before adding the other cake layer, so we can level it out nicely. Repeat these steps for all the layers that you may have. The top part is usually the bottom of the cake because it's usually the flattest part and will be easier to frost. Now we are going to crumb coat the cake. This means that we are going to apply a thin layer of buttercream all over the cake. This is important because we want to lock in all the little crumbs. No matter how smooth your cake may look, when you start to frost it, those little stray crumbs usually get caught in it. A crumb coat can prevent that. Put this in the fridge to chill. We'll do the same thing for the bottom tier. put this in the fridge to chill. Now we can take the top tier out from the fridge and start frosting. This is now chilled and the crumb coat is hardened. We'll start with a layer of buttercream on the top of the cake. Smooth it out the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because we'll come back to it at the end. Once the top is nicely covered, we'll start applying buttercream on the side. You can use an offset spatula like I did, or you can fill a piping bag with buttercream and then pipe it on the cake. Once it's nicely covered, it's time to smooth it out. The first few rounds are not going to be pretty. You'll see many holes or bubbles. Don't worry about it. Keep cleaning the scraper and scrape again. After a couple of rounds, in area where you can see very large bubbles, fill some buttercream in them with the spatula, then start scraping again. Repeat this movement until you are satisfied with it. It may seem like you are not going anywhere, but it will come together as you keep scraping. You may have seen a lot of videos on the internet where people can smooth out a cake in just a few rounds of scraping, but in reality, it may be because it has been edited to look that way. So don't worry if you need to do this many times. As you can see, it took me 7 rounds to smooth this out and it's still not entirely perfect. There are still some tiny holes on there, but I know it will be covered by decorations, that's why I let it go. Now it's time to smooth out the top. Offset spatula is the best tool for this, but you can also just use the cake scraper if it works well for you. Drag the edges towards the middle of the cake very lightly. Clean out the buttercream on the spatula after each scrape. Now put this in the fridge again to chill. We'll do the same thing for the bottom tier. Clean out the board and put this in the fridge to chill. You want to wait until the buttercream is hardened before we stack them. You know it's ready when you can very lightly touch the surface of the buttercream and it does not leave a mark. About 30 minutes to an hour in the fridge. Now that this is ready, we'll insert the jumbo plastic straws into the bottom tier. Insert the straw all the way to the bottom of the cake, then pull it out. You'll see where the buttercream mark is. Cut the straw just right below the buttercream mark, then using the piece that you cut off and push the straw all the way back into the cake. This is an 8-inch cake with 6-inch on top, so I use 5 straws. If it is smaller, then 4 will be enough. Apply some buttercream on it. Now put these on the counter and take the upper tier out from the fridge. Loosen the cake and its cake board from the large temporary cake board using a spatula. You can tell that it's loosened when you can lift the cake up slightly. Now very quickly but carefully lift the cake up and place it on the bottom tier. You can hold on to the cake lightly with your hand for support. This is why we want to wait until the buttercream is hardened so that we can handle it more easily without leaving any fingerprints on it. Now slide the spatula out carefully. It's very common that there may be a small gap in between the tiers. We are going to fix that. Pipe the same color buttercream as the top tier around the gap. Then run your finger through it to smooth it out. And this is how we close the gap. And this is how I frost and stack all of my cakes. This is the final outcome of this cake. All the two-tier cakes you see on my site are stacked using the same method. It is the easiest way but yet very secure as well.